Hello, Scorpio. I'm Colleen Pearl, the Cool Crone, and welcome back to my channel. I want to take a moment to say thank you for all your comments, and for my new subscribers, welcome. I'm so glad that you could join us. In today's video, I'll be talking about the major astrological events of 2021 and how they relate to the sign Scorpio. You should watch the video for both your rising sign and sun sign, as both will be very informative. 2021 has a lot of astrological things going on, so let's get to it. Hello, Scorpio. Let's start out with New Year's Day. New Year's Day starts out with a stellium in Capricorn and an almost stellium in Aquarius. So we've got Pluto, Mercury, and the Sun all in Capricorn on January 1st, on New Year's Day. And that is in your third house. So the emphasis on New Year's is going to be about your neighborhood, your community, your siblings, your neighbors, children, possibly childhood education kinds of things, but also communication, talking, newsletters, blogging, emails, letters, messages. And so it's going to be a very Mercury kind of day and week for the first few moments of the new year. But you've also got Pluto there. So these things take on a more intense importance and focus in your life. Pluto has been in your third house for quite some time. So the way that you communicate, the things that you communicate about, the people around you that listen to your communications or influence what you are communicating about are very, very important. And they've been going through a lot of changes, or rather you've been going through a lot of changes concerning probably your mode of communication. So whether you've been writing books or blogs or, being on the internet, you've been changing and transforming either the area that you're writing or communicating about, or the way that you write about it or communicate about it. And like I said, this is any form of communication. And your ability to wield that form of communication is what's really at issue here and has really been changing. The Sun and Mercury passing over Pluto in this house give you a bird's eye view into how well you're being received. It allows you to see not the lighter side of it, but it allows you to see the more public side of it. How do people take it? How do others view your communications? How do they understand you? Do they understand you? So that gives you not a breather, like I said, but a moment of clarity as you go through this transit of Pluto, which has been going on for a very long time. The planets in Aquarius are in your fourth house, and this is where you are thinking about your security, your home, the real estate that your home sits on. And these are the planets of Saturn and Jupiter, the big gas giants who just had the great conjunction on winter solstice of 2020. Saturn and Jupiter here are kind of at odds. Saturn is trying to restrict your energies and contain your energies, and Jupiter is trying to expand your energies and make it more fun and make it more fruitful. So they seem to be at odds, but let's look at this. They're in the sign Aquarius. Jupiter in the sign of Aquarius in and of itself is just more lofty, more egalitarian, more visionary, more looking at things on the larger picture, right? And Jupiter is always dealing with the larger picture because it expands things, it makes things large. So your home may likewise be enlarged. You may add to it, you may knock down walls and expand one room and get rid of another. You may sell it and you may buy another house, or you may buy a second or third or fourth house. So Jupiter is looking to help you expand your real estate in some way. Saturn is helping you to restrict that and to contain that. So Saturn is all about the rules, but Saturn also rules construction. So very likely that you would be constructing new things at your current dwelling rather than taking on new ones, because Saturn likes the old, right? Saturn is conservative. It's in the past. It's the father. It's the daddy saying no. Jupiter is the daddy saying, yes, let's go have a party. So they're two kind of dads, right? They're two kind of different dads. And Scorpio being a very shrewd sign, you are looking at the real estate temperature right now and assessing for your place wherever you are in the world, whether that's good for you to expand on the real estate front or whether it's better for you to stick with what you have and just change it or expand it. So that's what's going on at New Year's for you. We also have Uranus in your 7th house, which means that your relationships have been going through real changes and upheavals for several years. For the last few years, Uranus has been in Taurus, and I'm sure you've been feeling it, and it's probably put a strain on your relationships, if not just outright ended them or started new ones, because Uranus is change. That is one of the key words for Uranus is change, upheaval, abrupt change, erratic change. So since Uranus has been hanging out there for a couple of years, there may have been a few partings and then come back together in relationships or any kind of partnerships. It's not just romantic relationships, any kind of partnership. Also open enemies. So people that you know really hate you, maybe they love you and then they hate you again. So this is horrible. This is great for politicians because they can, use that energy to get whatever they want. But for people who are not in politics, it's very unsettling, and it makes it tricky to have relationships. Also with Uranus in your 7th house, another manifestation might be nothing to do with the ending or beginning of relationships, but just the fact that you will be attracted and will attract very unusual people into your life. That you will be, you will see yourself drawn to people who are not really what you would think of as your type. That they are completely out of the box for you, and yet they are stimulating and they are intriguing, and your relationships will take on that very eccentric, almost Aquarian style flavor, which for Scorpios, that might be kind of interesting, but it also might be a little unsettling because Scorpios like to control things, and if you have a partner who's very eccentric and uncontrollable, that usually does not sit well. So maybe this is a growing period for you, Scorpio. Maybe this is a time where you're learning to accept that which you cannot control, which I know just goes against everything that you've ever felt, every molecule and fiber of your being. But we are on the cusp of the age of Aquarius, so maybe it is time to change a little bit. Maybe it is time to embrace some of this more unconventional behavior, unconventional relationship. And that's another flavor that it might be. It might just be that you have begun a relationship that has taken on a very unconventional tone that maybe people really don't understand. And in that case, Scorpio, then you would be like, well, I don't really care what you think. I don't care if you understand it. It's my relationship. Me and my partner have worked it out. We are fine with it. You just have to go jump in a lake. Could be. That sounds more to me like the Scorpios that I know, what they would be aiming for. Then mid-month, we have a moon in Aquarius that is a crescent moon, and that's going to be highlighting all those domestic things, all those real estate things. So around about the 14th, I'm going to say that's when you're really going to start your plans for whatever you're doing with your changes to your domestic scene. That's going to really start and germinate definitely by the 14th, and that moon is really going to set it off. That's when your heart's really going to get into it. But on the 16th, on the 14th, also with that moon in Aquarius, Uranus goes direct. Now, Uranus is a planet that for you and for Taurus, this has been in your 7th house. It was in Taurus's 1st house. But having the planet move direct after having been retrograde for quite a while It's going to be a big burst of energy. It's going to be a big push of energy. And Uranus is already an erratic planet and a planet that, may be almost feel like it's asleep for a long time. And then all of a sudden it bursts out with something new. Uranus rules big weather around the planet, right? It rules natural disasters. It rules erratic behavior. It rules the changing of things, the change and upheaval of things, like literally the tectonic plates moving up. That's a Uranian phenomena. And then 2 days later, Mars is going to conjunct Uranus. This is explosive. This is something probably not very good. Probably not very good for our country, but more for you, it's going to have something to do with your relationships. So, stay away from all the sharp objects on that day and that week surrounding that day. Please don't get in any kind of a big argument or a fight or a car accident or something like that, because Uranus does those kinds of things. And especially with Mars involvement, there could be some danger there. So then we move on to January 30th, where we have Mercury going retrograde. First time of the year, it's going to go retrograde in Aquarius. It is not going to go direct until February 20th, which is about right. About 3 weeks is kind of the normal Mercury retrograde period. But we have this focus for you, Scorpio, on your domestic scene. So all of those things that you planned, all of those things that you were trying to do, you can't start them unless you start them before January 30th. And already on that moon, that Aquarius moon on the 14th that we talked about, you had your plans going. We probably were already in shadow at that point. I will have some other information about when Mercury is in shadow. It's probably not going to be great to start this in until late February. The actual, hammering and nailing and banging and things like that. And don't sign the contract for workers, between the 30th and February 20th, the 30th of January. So a little frustrating there to get things going. And again, that may also be combined with the Saturn energy, which is constricting you from doing the things that you want to do. But that's what's happening, and I'm just telling you about it. Now on the 17th, again, Mercury is still retrograde on the 17th, but on the 17th we have a square between Saturn and Uranus, and that's when you're really going to feel like things are blowing up. That's when there's not an argument, but you are going to feel like the energy is just holding you back. Like you really want to do these plans. You really want things to go. And Uranus is going to cause some kind of an event. So something is going to happen. And maybe this causes you to have to go forward with the project. Maybe you have to go forward. Maybe Uranus causes, I don't know, a pipe to burst or something like that. It's not going to be a pipe because Uranus is in Taurus, so it's not going to be a pipe. And Saturn's in Aquarius, and that's an air sign. So air and earth, it's going to be, not a pipe bursting. You can be sure of that. So something is going to be going on the 17th that is going to be uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable. It's not going to feel good to you. And then on the 27th, you have... everybody has Mars trine Pluto. This also really affects your partnership, because it affects your 7th house, but it references back to Pluto, which is probably still in your 3rd house. I say probably because, nobody has the signs just perfectly laid out, all equally around the zodiac when you went on your chart. So, your 3rd house may bleed into the 4th house a little bit. So this affects your 7th house and your 3rd house. So Pluto is there with all the dredging up all the things about your communications and your neighborhood and children and childhood education, all your communication stuff. And then Mars is trining that. So you're going to get a big push from Mars to use the things that you've been learning from Pluto and make those changes. So being a Scorpio, you are very tuned into the Pluto energy. It doesn't scare you. It doesn't throw you. You appreciate it. you understand that these are the things that people have to do in their lives. So there's one level, Pluto, where you're very deep in this stuff and you may not even be able to explain it to people, but you really resonate with the Pluto energy because you're a Scorpio and that's your ruling planet. So you may be taking your writing or whatever it is, blogging, whatever, in a completely different direction. Mars is going to give you the energy to really get that first draft going or get that outline to the publisher or whatever it is. But you're going to have a big push of energy at the end of the month on the 27th of February. So that's really good. And by PS, Mercury will have gone direct by then. It goes direct on the 22nd. So even though you're in the back end shadow of Mercury retrograde, it's fine to send things out on the 27th because you're past that actual Mercury retrograde. Okay, then we come up to March. And in March, we have the beginning of March is a beautiful scenario of the Sun conjunct Neptune. And this is in Pisces. This is going to be in your 5th house. So this is fun. This is really fun for you. So Scorpio, I know most of you are probably pretty psychic. The water signs tend to be very, very psychic. And your 5th house is where you can have fun. Now, hopefully, Scorpio, this isn't fun at somebody else's expense. I just know too many Scorpios who do that, and that's masochistic, and just stop it, okay? But having fun is something everybody needs to learn when they're an adult and they start working hard and they really get into their jobs. For most people, we kind of shortchange ourselves on having fun in favor of, paying the mortgage and getting our kids braces. We all just focus on the money thing because we have to, because it's bloody expensive to live. So this in March, you have actually the whole month is a beautiful opportunity to really delve into more secretive things, more spiritual things, more fun things that feed your soul. So whatever feeds your soul, Scorpio, that's what you want to play in. So whatever vibe or energy just makes you laugh and feel at ease and feel like I'm having a great time, do that in March. You've got the Sun conjunct Neptune, so great fantasies, okay, let's not get into why Scorpio just loves fantasies, okay? Just go there, just do it. I don't want to hear about it. Too much information. But Sun is conjunct Neptune from the start of the month. The first week of the month. And that puts a light on your spirituality, but also fantasy, and also on the little bits of yourself that you sacrifice for the greater good. Pisces is sacrifice. So Venus is also there in Pisces. And then on the 13th, you have Venus conjuncting Neptune also. So that's giving, that's female energy. So you might be reconnecting with female relatives or female friends that help you be in touch with your fun side. And Scorpios are not known for their fun side, right? They're not. They're just not known for that. So this is a rare and beautiful opportunity for you to let your hair down, to really relax, to use that relaxation to feed your soul. So it's going to be a good month. March is going to be a good month for you. And at the end of the month, then, Venus conjuncts Chiron, also in, in Aries at that point. Let me just double check that. It's March. Yeah. So Venus is in Aries and Chiron's in Aries. Now, wherever Chiron is in your chart, and in your chart, it's your 6th house. So it's your house for where you work, people you work with, the jobs you hold, health, the way you take care of yourself, the way you treat your health care and your responsibilities to yourself. That's all the 6th house, and that's Aries. And so you've got, you are a Scorpio. Mars is an important planet to you. It's your classic ruler. Pluto is your real ruler, and Mars, because you have a simpatico with that, is the ruler of Aries. And so this Aries area of your chart is going to be very, very important. Chiron represents a place in your life where there was a trauma of some kind, usually in childhood, and where you need to heal that trauma. Once you heal that trauma, then you're able to help others heal as well. Chiron represents the part in your chart where you have some kind of a wound or trauma that you need to heal from. And as you heal from it, you will learn how you can help heal others. So it's a beautiful thing that you can take your own experience at healing and help heal others. And with Venus there, Venus lends that female feminine power and energy and healing to Chiron's healing. And in the sign of Aries, so it'll be a little aggressive. It'll be a little, in your face. So you may find yourself actually telling people that you can heal them, talking to people, reaching out to people, female coworkers or friends of yours that you work with are the people that you're going to be connecting with to heal yourself or possibly to heal them. So that's happening at the very end of March, and that's really cool, Scorpio, because most of the water signs, like I said, you've got that intuition very, very strong, types of maybe clairvoyance or clairsentience or claircognizance, clairaudience, and then you can use that. You can amplify that trait, that talent into healing, not just getting messages from beyond the grave, but actual healing, manipulating energy and helping people to feel better. And that's the real beauty of even having these gifts, is that they are free. They came with you when you came into this lifetime, and you're here to be able to use them to serve others, to help others. That's what we're all here for. Okay, so now we move on to May. And on May 14th, Jupiter goes into Pisces. Jupiter is expansion. It's your fifth house. So Pisces is, with Jupiter there, the part of you that forgot how to have fun. If you didn't do it back in March, then you're going to do it now, because Jupiter's there and Jupiter's saying, come on now, we almost had you there. Let's go have some more fun. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a whole month of fun, but I think that there'll be a progression, right? You'll figure out that, hey, I really liked that spa day with Judy. Maybe I'm going to go do that again. Or, hey, I really liked going to that group meditation. That really helped me. And then you'll do it again and again. And by doing that, you'll have fun, which in Pisces is a very healing kind of fun. So that's really good. It's like laughter is healing, like certain things that are very enjoyable are very healing. All right. Then we have on May 26th, we have our first eclipse of the year. It's in Sagittarius at 5 degrees 26 minutes. And Scorpio, for you, that's fallen in your second house. So the eclipses, some of them this year, are really falling on that axis of your second house, eighth house, where we're talking about your resources, talent, skills, how you spend money, how you make money, and it's opposing your your house for shared resources, where you have resources commingled with your partner and how you deal with that. And the eighth house is a lot of other things too. We'll talk about that in a moment. The significance of eclipses is that they always herald change. It's always going to be some big change in your life that's coming about. Now, if you have planets in the mutable signs, this is going to be more impactful for you. But just as a Scorpio, the eclipse is not falling on your ascendant or descendant, and probably not on your midheaven or IC. So in that respect, this eclipse is not a big deal for you. But if you have planets in mutable signs around 5 degrees, and it could be a few degrees, it could be all the way up to 0 degrees, all the way out to 10 degrees, then you will have some impact from this eclipse. And that would obviously affect your resources. The way eclipses work, though, anytime another planet crosses that same point in the sky as it had on the actual eclipse, that's when you actually feel it too. So lots of different ways that eclipses can affect you. On the 29th of May, Mercury again goes retrograde, but this time in Gemini. And this is going to fall on your 8th house. So this is not screw ups, but this is delays or miscommunication pertaining to shared resources. And shared resources in the 8th house covers a lot of stuff. So it could be something about taxes, could be something about death, it could be something about sex, it could be something about the stock market, it could be something about big money, big shared money like mortgages, loans, mutual funds, 401ks. So those kinds of things could be where you have some miscommunications at the end of May. And then we go into June, and on June 10th, we have the solar eclipse in Gemini. Also your 8th house, also pertaining to all those things I just talked about with the 8th house. So you're going to have a big focus, but Mercury's still going to be retrograde when that eclipse happens. So that may compound things. That may make it more difficult having the solar eclipse fall on that. Finally, on the 22nd, oh wait, before we talk about that, so the solar eclipse is the 10th. On the 14th, we have a Saturn square Uranus. So Uranus is in your 7th house. Saturn's going to be in your, where's Saturn going to be? Saturn's going to be in your 4th house. So again, we have this emphasis and difficult and uncomfortable situation having to do with the domestic life, whether you're, changing your home, selling your home, building a new home. That's what's going to be stressed right there on that mid part of June. Then on the 21st of June, we have Mercury turning retrograde. Jupiter turning retrograde, and the next day on the 22nd, Mercury actually turns direct. So we've got Jupiter all of a sudden going and backing up, and we've got Mercury that's been backing up going and going forward. So this time of life may feel a little confusing, a little discombobulated, because the Jupiter is going to be sitting in your 3rd house, going into your 4th house, that's Jupiter, and your Mercury, and so your 2nd house, that's money, and your Mercury is going to be sitting in your 8th house for shared money. So there's going to be an emphasis on money and resources there in June that is uncomfortable, just uncomfortable. And Saturn's there too in your 3rd house, making your ideas feel like they're no good. Right? It's not true, but that's what you're going to feel like. So just be aware of that. That's in June, there are going to be some things that are very uncomfortable for you to deal with. Then in July, the big thing that happens in July is that Mars, which has just been zipping around the zodiac, is all the way up to Leo, and it's opposing that Saturn. So that Saturn is really getting a workout this year, and your 4th house is really getting a workout as well. So you're really testing the things having to do with things going around your house. And that's not to say that you should not do things around the house. And by things around the house, I'm talking about that situation where you're going to be either renovating your home, changing your home, expanding your home, selling your home, buying a new home, buying a second home, changing your domestic situation. It's not that you should not do those things. It's that along the way at these various points, there's going to be some difficulties with it. So it absolutely is the time to do those things and to conquer those difficulties. And in the course of conquering those difficulties, because we're talking about the planet Saturn, you're going to learn so much. This is part of what you came here for. This is part of your contract. This is why you're here. This is why you're doing the relationship you're in. This is why you're doing your life, right? So don't hold back from those things. Do them. Look at these dates. try your best to learn the lesson. Use the Mercury retrogrades to learn the lesson, to meditate, to contemplate, to look within. The Pluto stuff. Scorpio, you're a fan of Pluto, right? That's your ruling planet. So use this energy to really learn what it is that you're supposed to be learning while you're here this time around. Now, after that July stuff, that's the very 1st of July that you have that. So after that, there's really nothing astrologically that's super major until the end of September. Now, there's going to be full moons, new moons, things like that, but no eclipses or anything, no Mercury retrogrades in there until September 27th. Now, September 27th, Mercury does go retrograde again in Libra. So that's your 12th house. So you are going to be looking at all sorts of dreams and what do they mean and how do I feel about this. It's also going to prick up your spidey sense, so your psychic stuff is all going crazy. Now, I think for you, Scorpio, with Mercury retrograde in your 12th house, you will get probably a lot of messages, but you won't understand them. It's okay. Write it all down. You've got that 3rd house thing going on where you're supposed to be writing things. So go ahead and write down the messages that you get, the dreams that you have, the things that you feel like that just can't be right. What's going on with that? Write it down, because it may be very important later after Mercury is direct. In October, we've got Jupiter going direct finally, and it's still in Capricorn. I mean Aquarius. It's still in Aquarius. And then it was in Capricorn for so long. It's kind of hard to think that it's not in Capricorn anymore. Sorry about that. That was 2020. Mercury goes direct on the 18th. So 17th is Jupiter direct. 18th is Mercury direct. Yay, they're going in the same direction. Different signs, but same direction. And so that moment, I feel like towards that mid to late October is going to feel like, oh, we can go now. Oh, things can happen. And Jupiter for you is going to be in your 4th house. So that's where all the projects are going to go forward, lickety split. So that's really, really good. Now, Saturn's still there. It's still, clamping down on you. It's still trying to restrict you. It's still trying to get you to see what's really important. Here's the thing about Saturn. Yes, Saturn constricts and contracts. Yes, it puts you in a box. Yes, it makes you follow the rules. Yes, it teaches you lessons that maybe you don't want to learn. It also is fabulous for perseverance, persistence, focus, working for long periods of time, for real concentrated work, concentrated study, clarity, laser crystallization of ideas, just getting that laser focus, that crystal vision, so that you really know in your heart that this is right. So Saturn has a purpose. It's not just being mean. It's teaching you things. And so you've got to embrace that. You can't resist it, especially Scorpio. You have to do this, because otherwise then, Scorpio, you go off on the easy tangent, the easy thing, and frankly, start to get mean. And that's not good. You have to maintain compassion, Scorpio. If you allow yourself to be too selfish and too self-centered in your life, that's not a great life. That's a pedantic life. That's a life that doesn't produce enough. Scorpio, you have a responsibility to yourself to use your psychic gifts, use your intuition to read people, not to manipulate them, but to help them. And I'm not saying that all Scorpios are manipulative, but I have known a lot who are, because you do read people, you do have this ability, and you do have the insight. You're very shrewd. You're like playing chess in real life, and you can see that, the guy that doesn't understand XYZ is going to buy ABC, so you're going to sell it to him. You can see the chess moves before everybody does it. And I'm telling you, if you can use this this Saturn energy and learn that lesson and be compassionate and allow the Jupiter energy to really feed your compassion, you will just soar. You'll become the phoenix. You'll become the higher level of Scorpio, and you will enjoy a much better quality of life. a much better connection to your spirituality, a much grander feeling of productivity and fulfillment. That's the word I was looking for. You will feel much more fulfilled in life. So, okay, that's enough of my soapbox about Scorpio and what you should do. Then we come up to your Scorpio time, November 15th. We have another Uranus event between Mars and Uranus. We have Mars in your sign, in your first house, Scorpio, opposing Uranus in your seventh sign. So if you're in a relationship, if you're married, just please be very gentle with your partner, because this could be a big blowout fight. This could be something just out of the blue. Something, is like a match in a tinderbox, just blows things up, and you just have to be kind. Don't let yourself get running away with the whole, Scorpio revenge thing. But if it's a relationship where things do need to blow up in order for you to clear the air, then maybe that's what this is for. It just indicates that tensions are going to boil over and something's going to explode. We also have another eclipse. We actually have an eclipse not on the Sagittarius-Gemini axis, but an eclipse in Taurus, which is your seventh house. So that eclipse may or may not kind of smooth over the waters for that big blow up on the 15th. That the eclipse is on the 19th, and it's at 27 degrees Taurus. It's quite late in Taurus, but it's the first of the Earth sign eclipses, or the Earth axis. I shouldn't say Earth. I should say Taurus Scorpio axis. So it's in your seventh house. And then things are pretty calm until December 4th, where we have the answering eclipse, the solar eclipse in Sagittarius. So we're back on the Gemini-Sagittarius axis, which is your second eighth house axis. And so that's again going to focus on shared resources and your own resources. So you got to look at those things. You got to look at what's going on with that. And we've talked about, what those focuses are about and what's happening with that previously in the video. So you can go back and listen to that some more. And then we wrap up the year by looking at the chart for Christmas Eve 2021, where Saturn is squaring Uranus again. So we've already talked about what that brings to the table. We're really focusing on building, construction. What do I do with the house? Do I sell it? That whole thing. There will be some kind of an event that occurs that really hammers home why you're doing it or what you're doing it for. And again, it involves Saturn, so there's a lesson there to be learned. Uncomfortable, to be sure, but very valuable and something that you really need to go through. So that's and then the very last thing at the end of the year is Jupiter finally goes back into Pisces on 12/30 on the 30th of December. And that, I think, is going to be the moment in the country where we really trust that we are going to be taken care of, that our government is really looking out for us, that they're not just trying to use us and screw us in every way possible, but that we can trust that they're going to take care of us. By then, I think we will have had many examples by the new administration that they are for the people, that they are really for the people, and that they're not going to just let us hang out to dry and all starve and die and all our businesses go under, that they are going to lend a helping hand. So that's a nice way to end the year. So Scorpio, that's it for you for 2021. I hope you enjoyed that. Please leave me some comments down below and let me know how these predictions hit you. Throughout the year, if you want to come back to this video and reference what's going on and leave me a comment, then I'll look at it, and I'm very curious to know how that hits you. And if you're interested in getting a personal reading, my contact information is going to be right along here, and you can go to my website, or you can send me an email at coolcrone444@gmail.com, and we can set you up with some kind of a reading. Many different readings I offer, so just go to my website and take a look at the services tab. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you for listening to the end of the video. Please be sure, if you haven't subscribed, to click the subscribe button and click on the notification bell. And please be sure to like the video. Those thumbs up really, really help the channel. And best of luck to you, Scorpio, in 2021. And I look forward to seeing you next time.